I'm a 1998 Phoenix alumna. Recently, I have been reflecting on history, my own, my students, and our nation's. I grew up in the beautiful and culturally rich community of the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas. I happened to be born to the hardest working self-made woman you'll ever meet, and a father who was himself a first-generation college graduate. With only an 8th grade formal education from Mexico, my mother knew doing well in school was the key to her kids' life choices. Despite the subpar K-12 schools in my community, she and my father made sure I attended a great liberal arts college in Indiana, and my siblings went to college too. Unfortunately, many of my peers found themselves not having many choices. They didn't draw the hand I drew. Their lack of choices ultimately meant they didn't reach their potential. And that's a loss to their families, my community, and our country. Now I am a mother, responsible for ensuring my own kids have a chance for a great education. And I am blessed because my husband and I have more choices than the families I grew up with and the kids who I taught. In August, my husband and I moved with our 1- and 3-year-olds, Malcolm and Langston, from the Rio Grande Valley to Houston. It was an extraordinary experience, mostly because as we searched for a home to buy and we listed our top priorities, we had choices. We wanted to find a great public school and become part of a diverse neighborhood. We were lucky. We bought a home that zones into the top performing schools in the city. Clearly, I have always recognized that some people have real choices of where they can live, but the experience made me feel incredibly guilty. I thought about the students I taught, and as happy as I was to have great options for my kids, I knew that at the same time, other mothers and their kids simply don't have the same options. Like most of you, my most gut-wrenching experiences come from my own teaching, from the students and families I taught and the relationships that still endure today. Julio Morales is a senior in high school today in Phoenix. When I taught him way back in the 1st and 2nd grade, Julio and his family made an indelible impression on me. He is so smart, so hardworking, so earnest, so remarkable, as is his family. Yet, despite the many great personal traits, Julio has lived a very different life than I did or my kids will. He was born in Mexico, and his mother and father came to the United States to ensure that Julio and his siblings could have a better life and have access to a better education. They've hopped from home to home and school to school over the years as his family tries to make ends meet. Julio works every night after school and all weekend to help his family. Now, despite his talents, he is struggling. He doesn't see the path to college. He can't get financial aid because of his lack of citizenship. He cannot leave the state for the same exact reason, and he has limited choices of where he can go. This very motivated and focused kid has had to fight the system at every turn to make it. When I spoke to him over the holidays, Julio was discouraged. We talked for 2 hours, and we came up with a plan. But you know what? It shouldn't have to be this impossible for Julio. He should not have to fight and scrap and overcome just to get the same chance as his wealthier peers. I've been reflecting on Julio and on my own life and on my own kids. And I am impatient as I wonder whether the next chapter in our history will be more of the same, or whether we, all of us here, and our many friends and colleagues in this effort will change this. We have to change this reality that we will change this reality that Latino young adults complete their college degrees at less than half the rate of their white peers. Will we change the reality that only 1 in 3 Black men who actually make it to college complete it within 6 years? Will we change the reality that the average graduation rate for American Indians is lower than the graduation rate for all other racial and ethnic groups in America? Will we change the reality that 15 million children live in poverty, which in this country still today too often means their access to a quality education relies on the heroic efforts of their parents and families or the random luck of a lottery? We must change this reality. We must change this because this is not the America we can accept. We must change this because this is not the aspiration of our great nation. We must change this because this is not what our generation will stand for. Every corps member, every alum, and every other colleague in this room knows that where you are born does not have to determine a child's life outcomes. Ignorance may be bliss, but we know better. And once you know better, there is a moral imperative to this work. I stand here humbled by the almost 11,000 people in this room who have boldly and courageously stood up to say no more. We will no longer accept the history of injustice we are carrying with us today. As I think about the day ahead, I plan to soak in every second, to learn from you, to gain strength and courage through every interaction and discussion. I hope that you will do the same. I hope that we're able to reignite and continue to fuel that fire we know was sparked in each of us at some point 20 years ago. And as we do this, I will continue to ask myself the question, what role will I play in this fight? As a mother, a daughter, an educator, and as part of this movement, am I doing enough? Am I fighting hard enough? Am I part of creating change fast enough? What role will I play? I encourage you all to ask yourselves the same critical question. What role will you play? Let today be a reminder of the progress, the hope, the dissatisfaction, and the courage we all need to win this. Thank you for being here and for filling every space in this room with the energy, the optimism, and the urgency we need as we charge forward on our quest to make history. Thank you.